Ginny Gilliam. I'm the president and CEO of the Coeur d'Alene Area Economic Development Corporation. Legally, we are still Jobs Plus. We didn't change that. The reason we changed it is because every time I went anywhere, they thought we were an employment agency because it had the Jobs Plus. So the Coeur d'Alene, the cachet that goes with the name, of course, Economic Development Corporation is no. So that's who I am. And our objective, of course, is to either recruit companies into the community or help existing companies expand. We're all about the job creation part, okay? So we have been extremely busy and we seem to continue to get busy. We thought there was 2 brutal months in 2020 where we didn't get too many phone calls, and then mid-May hit and it has not stopped. And we were busy before, you know, January, February. There was just like a March, April, and a half of May. And then it has continued. And you heard from Glenn and everybody else that the growth projections are good. So what I really want to say is housing. They are now asking me about housing in the same breath that they're asking me about operations, incentives, as well as infrastructure. Usually it's infrastructure, operations, and housing, and all that stuff come up later on in the discussion. So when you guys do your comprehensive planning, make sure that you allow for the variations in housing so that we have the capacity to house all the workforce that's coming. So the median household income in the area is 50 to 54,000. Median family income is 74,200, which means that people really can only afford homes that are under $400,000. Okay, and you all know what's happening in construction and the cost of supplies. So in order for them to be able to, and I think we have developers that are interested in building under 400 to accommodate the workforce, but it also means that the cities have to be able to allow them to build the variety of homes that they can under that 400,000 mark. If we don't have businesses here, if we don't have the workforce, it'll throw the economic development balance out of our community, and we will not continue to grow because we won't have any young people that are gonna be in the area. So I'm gonna keep it that short. I wanna tell you guys that we have, last year, we had 245 in workforce. This is direct work coming from the 5 companies that we recruited into the area. Kentworth announced, you guys heard that. It's actually, we call that project Drive 1, 2, and 3 because it's an economic development entity, and as a community, we get a hat trick if we get all 3 of them, okay? So, hockey, sorry. Triple, baseball, whichever way you wanna look at it. And we also have Metal Quest. It's a smaller company with about 30 to 35 people. They've hired 10 to 12. They're looking for another 20. One of the questions he asked me when I saw him in January is he said, you told me the housing market was tight when you were recruiting me. Now I cannot find a house for any of our workforce. And I said, we didn't expect the pandemic to be like a strong housing market, but it turned out to be, as you all know, we made the Wall Street Journal, not exactly for what we wanted to make the Wall Street Journal for, but we're there. And it's not just us going through this, by the way, it's nationwide. There's, I think, according to Freddie and Fannie Mae, there's like 4 to 5 million housing shortage across the US. California has like 2.5 million. I don't know what the number is for our area, but it's happening nationwide. Prices are going up, and we do have developers that wanna make those $400,000 homes and under, but you need to be able to allow them to do it so that they can still make money within, you know, what's happening with construction as well as the cost of supplies. I'm gonna keep it that short.
That's great. I'm sure there's gonna be questions.
I got some information from one of our local wise people around here, which we have respect for, and I'm old, so I'm different, but when I was raised, the American dream was to have your little house with the picket fence, to leave it to beaver type family thing and all that. And over the years, everybody, they wanted their own house, they wanted it on their lot, and they wanted this and that and the other thing. But I'm hearing today that some of these kids today, whether it's just because of the money or not, don't want that. They want apartments, they want, is it just because it's cheaper to do that?
You know, I think those trends are actually also changing, you know, the Gen Z. Okay, whichever generation, okay. There was a time where a lot of them didn't wanna buy a home, but a lot of them were having children. They had children later because of the last recession that we had. They had to recover from that, they had to get jobs, all sorts of things like that. But I think, we have both young people and senior people buying homes in the area, if you talk to a lot of the realtors in our area. So it's the younger missing middle housing that we really need to figure out how to address. Because if we can't address that, we will have to stop doing what we're doing in terms of recruiting businesses into the area. And that's not something we really wanna do as a community, as a region.
So if we, sorry, I was gonna say, if we restricted housing, like if we put a cap on the number of building permits that we could issue a year or something like that, would that have a negative effect on our overall
It will have an
economics?
absolutely negative effect on what we're doing on economic development. Because as it is, we don't have enough houses to house all the people that we've already recruited, or the companies, the workforce that's coming from the companies we've already recruited.
I've lived here all my life, well, not quite all my life, but maybe tomorrow it's all my life. But, I was looking at the press the other day, and there was a house down on, I think it was Miller Street, was advertised for sale. And it's an older neighborhood, it's an older house, the house is probably 50, 60 years old, just a little, you know, back when I was young and growing up, maybe that was a $20,000 house. $700,000 they want for that
Yes.
thing now. How in the heck can anybody that works for a living around here pay that kind of money
They
for
can't.
a starter home?
That's the point, they can't afford 700,000.
So doctors, we can't get doctors here because doctors can't afford.
Correct.
And they don't have jobs.
Even the hospital
And that's-
has a hard
and-
time
and-
recruiting.
And the problem, and so Mary, I'm gonna put you on the spot, cause it's not just your development, but I don't know what you paid for your house, but I know what the neighbors paid for their house, and I know what they sold it for in a year. Do you wanna even share? So it'll make us.
It is insanity to me that a 30-something-year-old kid can buy a house and in 1 year, double
Yes,
Yeah.
in 1 year. That's not real.
that's not normal.
It's not real. That's a very tight balloon.
But you know what's really
Crazy.
sad, really quickly, and I'll shut up, but for those of us that have lived here all of our lives, it's stayed here because we loved it here, and this is our home, okay? So we bought a house years ago, we did, and our house, we still live in it today, and we paid $18,000 for it on 6 cents of an acre and all that, and it's been paid for forever. And people say, well, think what that place is worth today. Well, it doesn't matter
It doesn't matter
what
to
it's
me
worth, cause
either.
I'm gonna die there, so what the heck do I care?
Me too.
And the only person that's happy about it is the tax assessor. And the tax assessor in Kootenai County, we've been to Boise many times over the years bitching about this, trying to get some breaks for people, but Boise doesn't care. That's
Thanks. And we were talking about, just, and then Roger, but I'm gonna use Mary's home as for Hayden, because that was the $400,000 house. And it was just sold for 7.5. And it doesn't have a basement, and that's the part that we've gotta struggle with, so the supply and demand. And if the demand exceeds the supply, we can't just stop at some point, because then we're playing a game that none of us wanna play.
Yeah, it
Roger.
actually, it makes it worse if we cap what we're gonna do, because we're already behind right now. So if we cap what we're going to approve for the next even 2-3 years, we're going to be severely behind if we do that for the next 2 to 3 years.
So this is something that Rachel's team put together for us, because we hear a lot that, generally from some older people, that, you know, the young people, they should just save and buy their house like we did, right? Like, I had to do it, they should have to do it too, and this just shows, like, how different the game is today. It's not the same world, and so if we're not providing a variety of different opportunities for people, then, I mean, it's just not the same game.
No, it isn't.
So,
Steve, whoever,
so my question is, when you're recruiting businesses,
correct.
are those businesses anticipating that they're going to find their workforce that is already local here? Or that they're going to bring them in?
So here's the thing, our unemployment is at 3.8. They want to hire, and we encourage them to hire locally, but at 3.8 unemployment, and we were at 2.6 before the pandemic, that's, even if you employ all 3.8%, that's not a whole lot of people, okay? And usually you don't wanna employ the last 2%. because-
Right, they're
Well,
unemployed
yeah.
for a reason.
Usually there's the last 4%, you don't wanna, but so they will have to bring people into the area.
Well, my bigger concern is for the kids that have grown up here or have moved in with their parents and they want to stay close, to make sure that they find jobs.
We absolutely
versus
always
importing
encourage them to
workers.
hire locally first. And so that's one of the reasons we partner so closely with education, so that they will have the training that they need for the jobs that we're bringing into the area. And we are trying to, we're actually doing pretty good as far as getting that aligned. So we're making sure that the NIC or University of Idaho are teaching or providing the technical training for the particular jobs that we're after. For instance, in our area, it's a lot of advanced manufacturing, transportation and distribution, and we're starting to get a lot of professional services. So we're trying to make sure that that training continues in the area. So locally, all the kids that are here can go get that training when, well, some of the jobs are already here, they qualify and they will get hired.
Back to the limit that you had mentioned, if we were going to limit a certain amount, wouldn't that actually make it more exclusive? So therefore, the people that are interested in buying those homes are gonna be the people, or the only people that could buy those homes are gonna be the people that have the money. And that would raise that 400, you were saying they would need to be at least under 400, that would probably turn it to $600,000 if we were.
If we were to limit the
Limiting
number of
it.
building permits, for instance.
It would be like creating a country club for people that are moving into our.
Why, like I said, we're already behind on the numbers. So if we limit it, we're just gonna get further behind. But why do we want to create a country club?
I don't,
Because
that's
we're
what
already-
I'm questioning.
No,
Yeah.
that's not what we wanna do, because the businesses are coming, because we are a good place to do business. We have the transportation logistics that they want. We're not that far from Seattle, we're not that far from the ports. We have good operations in Idaho and all the different things that, sometimes they tell me why they're coming. I don't have to sell what it is that we provide here. So we definitely need to be able to at least meet current demand. And then because they keep coming, like I said, we have these, we have Project Drive 1, 2, and 3. Out of the 5 that I mentioned to you guys, 1 is announced, and Kenworth is also announced. It's 245 jobs. Only 12 in one and none in the other one has been hired. And there's 3 of those businesses that are once ready to sign paperwork, 2 are doing due diligence. When they all get done doing all of that, we need 245, at least 245 more homes. Because even if they hire from somebody that's already here, at one point, we're gonna have to bring new people into the area to backfill wherever they hired from.
The only reason why I said it the way that I said it was because I know that at one point this was brought to Post Falls and Rathdrum, where there are people out there that believe that that's a really good idea. And I feel, this is my opinion, that they don't know what they're talking about, and that they're very uneducated. And I think it's important that in a recorded session, that those people can hear
Yes.
what we're saying right now. So, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Do you think that neighborhoods of tiny homes would be helpful, so that people had other options of getting into a home? Or would it be better to have, apartments, condos? Or
I
should there
think
be
that's
mixture?
one of the things that has to happen I think sometimes the market will dictate that. As much as everybody wants to have their 2,000 square foot, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, or maybe I said that backwards, home with a yard, an eighth of an acre yard. It's not, at the moment, with current prices, it's not realistic for a young family to own that. So whatever the variety is that we need to offer, whether it's condos, townhouses, smaller homes, duplexes, whatever it is, I think the market will dictate. So if I had a young family, okay, and I wanted to own my own place, but I can't buy a singles family, I would go buy a condo or a townhouse, build equity, and then maybe in whatever, okay, you move to your single family home.
Yeah, but then we have infrastructure issues and traffic issues and
Right.
school issues.
I understand that.
Right, I mean, so.
It's all connected, which is why you're doing a comprehensive planning.
It's still not.
Yeah,
Why,
so
did
it's
you
not
have a
easy.
comment? Like 20
I
minutes
read
ago?
somewhere where over 50% of the people moving here are retired.
It's not quite that high, but it's a high number.
So what that tells me is they're probably selling a home for much more somewhere else,
Exactly.
moving here, but as they move here, what that is requiring is the need for more services to support them moving here. And it's not like Idaho's the highest paying state in the world. So diversity in housing to me seems to be more and more important, because with these people, they have money, they have money, but they want the service.
Correct.
And the people offering the service can't buy a $700,000 home. So to me, that just says, okay, we gotta have diversity in housing.
Correct, yeah. And also, because the builders still have to make money, and so there has to be a variety of designs and types that they need to be able to make in order to still make money at the cost of construction right now, because of the workforce, as well as the the cost of supply. So whatever variety you all discuss to do, I just wanna make sure you're thinking and keeping in mind that we do need homes under $400,000. We're always fighting to make sure that the wages continue to grow for the companies. We actually work very hard to recruit companies that pay much better. So that's one of the reasons that median household keeps going up. We're pushing companies to come here that pay higher wages, and before we offer any incentives, they have to at least match our median household income. So the higher that gets, the more we drive those wages in order to enable to have everybody to have a better quality of life in the area. Okay?
Go ahead, Mary.
I hear the message, you gotta grow, you gotta produce, you gotta get more. The problem is, it creates more congestion. It creates more problems for providing services, because we can't afford, to provide those services. Like, for example, we have, capital improvement plans for roads that there's no way we can even come close to meeting. So, if we have a problem now we can't fix, how are we gonna fix the problem in the future when we have all these more people here, and we're encouraging more people to come here, and we're gonna try to drive the price of houses down so there can be more people there, here? That doesn't, I can't figure that one out. Can someone explain that?
I don't think we're encouraging people to move here.
Well, we have jobs plus, they're recruiting.
We're encouraging businesses.
She's
Well,
encouraging,
but job-
Focus on
for
businesses.
people that already live here to deal with
Right.
the unemployment, which is.
And I see that they're putting people in and doing that kind of technology that can help out with that. No?
No, but it's
Sure,
fair.
Well, are you saying we don't have
I
a
mean-
population growth?
Oh, no, we obviously.
Well, that's what my point is, how are we going to, any decisions we make, higher density, more people, how are we gonna keep up with that? We can't fix what we have now.
But you also can't ignore the problem. It's a challenge that we have, it's a high growth challenge
By
that we
putting more
have.
people in the city, is that how we fix it?
It's not like it's gonna stop, I guess is the way to put it, it's not gonna stop, okay? Just because you cap the number of houses in an area, the growth isn't gonna stop. What that will actually do is drive prices up, okay? Because the few, like you were saying, if you build a country club, the few that come here My little house that I bought 6 years ago will be worth 1.5 million shortly, if we cap the number, because the ones that have the money will be able to come here, but then we're gonna be a retirement community versus a strong, thriving community with a diverse population, diverse economic development, and everything else that's happening. It's a challenge we have to address, so we have to address it. We can't ignore that it exists.
Well, I see that as two issues. The issue is, how much do we wanna leave the door open for how many more people in the city of Hayden? And do the people want that? That's a question. Do they want that? Do they want to fill in every conceivable open space with homes, and low-priced homes? I mean, we can't, again, I know I'm a broken record here, but we can't fix the transportation problems we have right now in the city. We know what it's like. So how are we gonna pay for it in the future if we double the population?
Councilmember Reuter's point, and this is for planning and zoning and everyone else, what is our capitalization plan, 55 million?
Yes.
55 million, and we have 2.8 million to pay for it, so we're already way behind. I mean, and so it's a hard, if we get more people, then that 55 million is gonna go to 80 million, the 2.8 is gonna go to 3, and we're worse.
It's a word, we're
And
just
that's,
getting.
and that's the quandary, and it keeps me up at night, cause I mean, the constraints are gonna still be constraints, sewer's gonna be constrained, schools are gonna be constrained, traffic is gonna be constrained to some level. But then we're gonna make a decision from a planning standpoint, is Hutter coming? And if Hutter's coming, then we ought to have mixed and commercial there, cause I don't want homes sitting underneath a freeway. And then if I limit, if I say, and it's, I don't know how easy it is to say, okay, we're only getting 100 new homes, then what I'm doing is signing a death wish for those that are living here, even though it might not seem like it, because our home prices are going up. Where do we move to? What services do we have? It's just a really hard, this is a hard one, guys. This isn't easy stuff.
And I'm not saying limiting it, I think my thought would be, instead of going into greater density, let's go into less density.
And build more miles of road when we already don't have.
See,
enough.
that's the problem
We
too.
have more houses, we have more people.
But that's incorrect, because you're gonna have the roads, as you said, are not gonna be 5 lane, they'll be 3 lane, so it's less to take care of. Sewer, you say, oh, well, we're only gonna have so many square footage of people on the sewer, well, sewer rates can be raised. It's not a tax where we're limited, and they say, you can only raise by this amount. If a sewer, if it's not paying for itself, you can raise the rates, it's not, you have to go to a vote of people to raise those rates. So it does pay for itself, you have less people in the homes, you have less people on the roads, you have less kids in the schools. The people that already are here are not seeing more congestion on the roads. So Hayden there's diversity in towns also in what their vision for growth is. You know, Post Falls has a high tax rate, they can stuff as many homes as possible in a lot, because they get more money from them. We have a low tax rate, we lose money on homes if we build more homes. So I think it goes back to your argument that maybe we should have, our lots are bigger, we have the missing middle around the arterials that can handle the traffic, but the rest of the lots are smaller, so you're not dumping more and more people into the home, into the schools and the roads. And it goes back to you say it's a country club, but you're also taking care of the people that are already here, and not penalizing them for future growth.
And that's a key, and it's almost like,
You tell me to shut up, or you just acknowledge it?
No, I feel bad that but it's almost like Coeur d'Alene's gonna do what Coeur d'Alene's gonna do.
And Post Falls.
Post Falls is gonna do, and Rafton, I mean, we haven't ever asked anybody to annex. And is that, can I say land grab in this meeting? Is that, but we don't. And so maybe those options can exist where if we have less density, it would be great to be able to do an economic evaluation, because we're not locked in to say, okay, if in fact we have this monitor and we have less density, what's it gonna do to schools, traffic, sewer, and is that where we want to go? And does that benefit, what will that do then to the price of housing? But if the price of housing increases a little bit, I mean, I wish I could have that tool to be able to use. What are the other financial benefits associated with that? One being that my grandkids, or the kids have to live in Coeur d'Alene, or Post Falls, or Alger, Good.
One thing that has